Okay, we've got another follower submission to read here. This one is, am I the astronaut for standing up to my sister-in-law on her wedding day? My sister-in-law, Dana, didn't want me at the church for her wedding to my brother, Mark, because she needed someone to watch the reception set up at the park and make sure the food was out and ready for the guests as they arrived. So you got put to work. Cool. She asked me to do this weeks before the wedding day, and I asked if someone else could watch the reception set up, picnic blankets, some bunting, balloons, a few coolers, and a stereo so I could attend my brother's wedding. She said she needed everyone else at the church so no one else was available to watch the setup. In the same conversation, I asked if I could have a +1 and was told yes. So I thought I'd found a solution to the problem. I asked my best friend, Sarah, to be my +1 and asked her to watch the setup at the park while I went to the wedding ceremony. Sarah was more than happy to help and was excited that she could attend my brother's wedding reception. Mark and I were very close. Mark spent a lot of time with Sarah and I growing up. Sarah even dated Mark's best friend for a while, so our friendship circles were completely mixed. She was disappointed when she wasn't originally invited to the wedding and so was ecstatic to be my +1. When Dana saw me at the church, she was angry. I explained that my +1 was at the park. She was mad that I was trusting a stranger to watch her reception set up. I explained that my +1 is Sarah and Mark and I have known her for 10+ years. She was then livid that I had invited Sarah to her wedding. She told me to leave and to go to the park and make Sarah go home. So I went to speak to my brother about it. He said I could stay for the ceremony and photos, and he was happy Sarah would be at his wedding reception as he thought she was invited anyway. Boop. Dana said I was creating tension between her and Mark on her wedding day and was starting their marriage with a disagreement. I stood my ground, saying that I have the right to watch my brother get married and that she is overreacting because Sarah will make sure everything is ready at the park. I had dropped Sarah off at the park before I went to the church. Sarah helped one of Dana's sisters put up the bunting and finish setting up the picnic rugs so Dana's sister could get to the church before the ceremony started. She also set up the charcuterie board and laid out all the food nicely so when we all arrived from the church, everything was ready. Sarah had recently done the world's greatest shave to fundraise for cancer and was wearing a pastel pink wig at the reception. All of her other wigs were more vibrant colors. She also wore a simple corseted shirt with balloon sleeves with a peasant skirt. At the reception, someone asked Sarah about the wig, so she told them about the fundraiser she'd just finished and that she wore the wig to protect her bald head from getting burnt. Dana asked me again to make Sarah leave by describing her as a pirate clown. A pirate clown? She called her a pirate clown. I said if Sarah leaves, I have to leave as we came together in my car. I also told her that Sarah helped set up and put out the food. Dana said Sarah has to leave as she is making the day all about her. And if that means I have to leave too, then that's fine. My brother overheard and said he wants Sarah and I to stay because we are his sisters. 11 years later, Dana still says I ruined her wedding day. Every time she brings it up, I feel guilty and wonder if I'm the asshole. Should I have done what she asked? Stayed at the park and sent Sarah home instead of attending the ceremony? Am I the asshole for standing up to her on her wedding day? Am I the asshole for getting my brother involved? This sounds like a day. So wait, 11 years later, they're still married? That's the surprising thing in all of this to me. 11 years later, she hasn't run him off. One factoid I need to go back and find here. Sarah is a friend, right? She dated the groom's best friend, never dated the groom. Why is Dana so adamant about not wanting her at the wedding? I could only think this made sense if they had dated and had some kind of history that would make her uncomfortable and not wanting her there. But not wanting the sister to be there at the ceremony, that's not okay. And she hadn't even discussed that with her fiance, soon-to-be husband, because he wanted her there. He knew nothing about it. And he thought Sarah was invited too. She has her feelings about things and she's, the bride does what the bride wants on the wedding day. However, there has to be some consulting with the groom as well, doesn't there? There has to be an agreement here, especially if it's affecting the groom's family. And he viewed Sarah as family too. So two of his sisters were getting excluded by Dana and he wasn't okay with it. So he piped up and said, no, I want them to stay. But now 11 years later, Dana still blames this on you, OP? But she's got some kind of insecurity. I don't understand not wanting the sister to be there. Dana, why would you want the sister to not be there at the ceremony? You could have had anybody watch the setup. One of the things why I'm just really confused about them, or I'm surprised that they're still married, because Dana, 11 years later, still pushing this. It's like, wow, anything that he's ever done in this marriage, he knows the statute of limitations will never be up on it because here 11 years later, she's still using this shit against his sister. So she's going to hold on to everything that he does wrong forever. How are they still married? He must see something in her that we don't. No, OP, not the asshole for standing up to your sister-in-law on her wedding day. Why? Because the groom wanted you to be there, and he's your family. Now she is too. However, at the time, they weren't married yet. He was your family. He wanted you there. You get to be there. She doesn't get to just put you to work to keep you away, which is what it seems like was happening here. You got the job covered by someone. She should have been happy about that, but didn't even want the other girl there. So what the hell? This Dana gal seems like she's very impossible to make happy. Another reason that I'm very surprised that they're still married 11 years later. Not the asshole for standing up to her on her wedding day because she was being unreasonable. Not the asshole for getting your brother involved because he's your brother. And he's the groom. He gets a say too, right? Candy Thunder has to explain to me all the time why women do shitty things to each other. And I think there was an episode of Selling Sunset on last night. You were watching the last episode of the season, is that right? And of course I had 1,000 questions because I don't typically watch with her. So I was like, okay, who's this? What's she right? What's the motive here? What's going on here? And then I was like, I'll just shut up because you're trying to enjoy the last episode. And here I am like, catch me up. I want to understand what's going on. And then I remembered that I didn't care. She said I was so proud until that last sentence. I wanted to understand, but then I realized that my trying to understand was actually hindering you from being able to enjoy the show. Okay, so Candy Thunder has to point out to me like what is happening when women are being shitty to each other and why it's happening and blah, blah, blah. Is there a women being shitty to each other motive here that I'm not seeing? Like, what possible reason could Dana have for not wanting the sister there? Is she so insecure that maybe she felt like she was going to be upstaged? Is she so insecure that she didn't want someone who had good hair there? Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. What things could contribute to that? Could be that, if they were close, she's getting ready to have him all to herself and she just didn't want anybody that had a strong connection there. She wanted to have his focus and attention completely. That's entirely possible. It's hard for me to see those motives that Candy Thunder would be able to point out instantly and be like, could be this, could be this, could be this. And I'm like, how? Why? Why would that ever be an option? My God, you're the bride for the day. Like, all eyeballs are on you. You're the top dog of the day. You don't have to shit on other people. You don't have to. You don't have to drive everyone else down. I just don't understand the motive behind it. I don't understand the need to shit on other people just to make sure that there's absolutely no risk that anyone is even in the same stratosphere as the bride. I don't understand it.